Yes, Espedia. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I hope your day, your week, and your weekend have been going very well so far. This is Clash of the Titans, the video series here at Guy Boston Sports, where I go through each and every single ranked on ranked matchup throughout the entire college football season, giving you guys deeper insight, deeper analysis, but more importantly, more picks, and all these big time pivotal matchups. In today's video, we're covering number 17 ranked Alabama going on the road against number 5 ranked Georgia for the first time in over 10 years. This game's being played in Athens, Georgia since 2015. So a big time SEC showdown. And as always, guys, I've got some really great picks to go ahead and share with you. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day and a new week of college football comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. Guys, very excited to talk about this game with you. This is our fourth and final Clash of the Titans video coming out this week. I do apologize. I know this video is coming out a little late on Saturday. Unfortunately, some schedule constraints made it tough to get this video out earlier, but better late than never. It's still a number of hours before kickoff, so plenty of time to get your bets in for this big time SEC showdown. The other 3 videos are already posted on the channel. For Clash of the Titans, we broke down Oregon, Penn State, LSU, Ole Miss, and USC, Illinois, as well as our full Week 5 college football picks video. So make sure to go ahead and check those out. And last thing before we dive into today's video, guys, go ahead and comment down below who you think is winning this game, whether it be number 17 ranked Alabama or the home team number 5 ranked Georgia in this one. All right, guys, I have 3 picks to go ahead and share with you in today's video. Our first one being a spread pick. And again, we have a 7:30 p.m. kickoff for Bama, Georgia. And I'm going with the Bulldogs here on the spread, minus 2.5. I'm grabbing that from minus 104 over on Novig. However, this line is available on multiple sports books for varying odds. So guys, make sure to go ahead and shop around for the best sportsbook odds available to you. I talked about this in the Oregon-Penn State video a little bit. This is another one of these picks where the public seems to be very much against Georgia. I see a lot of people riding Alabama in this spot, but I gotta be honest, I think Georgia is the clear and obvious play. Like I mentioned at the top of the video, guys, this is the first time this rivalry is being played in Athens, Georgia since 2015. So it's a massive home field advantage. You know those Georgia Bulldogs fans are gonna be going crazy finally getting to play the Crimson Tide at home. Now, these 2 teams have played a ton over the last 10 years. It's either been at Tuscaloosa or in Alabama, or it's been in, the SEC championship game, the college football playoff, the national championship game. A couple different options there in terms of how they played over the last decade. But unfortunately and weirdly, it hasn't been in Athens, Georgia. So that home field advantage is going to be huge. Now, both teams are coming off bye week, so they both have that advantage at their disposal. Both teams had an extra week of rest, an extra week of preparation for this game. And both these teams, funny enough, are flawed versions of what were once great teams. Now, they're still great teams, but we're talking about like the peak Kirby Smart Georgia when they're winning national championships. They're not there anymore when they had Stetson Bennett, right? Same thing with Bama. Obviously, post Nick Saban, they haven't exactly been the Alabama we all know and for most people hate. These are still very strong teams, but they have clear weaknesses that you usually wouldn't see. For Georgia, it's their defense. Their defense has not played how a Kirby Smart defense is used to playing. It's a little bit weaker than normal. Look at the right side of the screen, the numbers. They're 81st in the nation in passing yards allowed. Obviously, a little bit of a problem when you're playing Alabama, who have a top 10 passing offense in terms of passing yards per game in the nation. So Georgia's defense not as strong as it has been in years past. Their pass rush has not really been all that existent. And on the right side, if we flip it back to Alabama, their defense has been solid, but they also have some inefficiencies too. Their pass rush has not been great. Their defensive weakness has been their rushing defense, right? Their run defense. They're giving up 138.3 rushing yards per game. That's 71st in the nation. Obviously, Georgia, their strength so far this year has been in running the football, a clear advantage for Georgia. Like the Oregon-Penn State game I talked about already in the other Clash of the Titans video, this is a game where I think it's a coin flip. I think these are 2 pretty even teams. They both have some pretty exciting pieces on the offensive side of the football. For Georgia, obviously, young quarterback Gunnar Stockton, along with Zachariah Branch, Nate Frazier, a number of other weapons. For Alabama, you have Ty Simpson. Obviously, Ryan Williams, one of the best wide receivers in college football. So a lot of weapons, a lot of big-name players, future NFL players on both sides of the football. Ultimately, why I'm going with Georgia here is I feel like they are a little more tested just within this year than, say, Alabama. The last time we saw Georgia play 2 weeks ago, they played a Tennessee team on the road in Rocky Top and beat them in a really big scoring affair. Now, Georgia's defense did not look great in that game, and obviously it just kind of confirmed a lot of the fears that I think a lot of Bulldogs fans had, whether their defense wasn't going to be great this year. That being said, to me, what was proven in that game was that Gunnar Stockton can hang with the best of them, because there were a lot of doubts going into that Tennessee game about Gunnar Stockton. What was he going to be able to do? Could he hang with the big boys? Could he play in those big-time games? That's a tough environment in Nashville, Tennessee, taking on the Volunteers, and it's just really tough game. And he came out there in a game where Tennessee was firing all cylinders offensively, and he played a great game, and he ended up sticking through and won that ball game. So that was impressive. On the Alabama side, their most impressive win is that Wisconsin win, which at the time was like, hey, good win. But when Wisconsin follows it up with a blowout loss to Maryland the following week, it questions the authenticity of that win. Obviously, we know Alabama lost that really tough game week 1 against FSU. That's obviously less than ideal. So yeah, I think that Georgia's a little more proven. I think I trust Gunnar Stockton just a little bit more. I do Ty Simpson here. I think this game is going to be a higher scoring game. I think you're going to see a bit of a shootout here. And ultimately, it's going to be which quarterback I think remains the most poised, who plays the best, that will ultimately define or determine the outcome of this game. Because again, both defenses, they're not terrible defenses, but they both have clear weaknesses. Georgia's pass defense, you can throw on them, okay? Alabama's run defense, you can run on them. Some clear attack points for both teams. I think Georgia, and this isn't being talked about enough, Georgia has a massive advantage in the coaching department. Look, Kalen DeBoer was great at Washington. I thought he was a decent hire for Alabama. Thus far, you've had some diminishing returns. Now, it's still early. It's only year 2, and he's in the shadow of the greatest coach in the history of college football, Nick Saban. But he has lost some of these big games, and I have some question marks with Alabama here in this spot. Now, they did play last year, so it's not like Kalen DeBoer hasn't faced Kirby Smart in Georgia yet. They won that game last year, and what was, I think, the best college football game of all last year, maybe one of the best college football games in the last decade plus. It was great, but now you're in Kirby Smart territory. Now you're on his home turf. I do think he has the coaching advantage over Kalen DeBoer. Alabama also struggling a bit on the road, as you can see here from Outlier. Alabama 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 games on the road. That's obviously not great. And honestly, if you narrow it down to just straight up, not even talking about spread, just straight up who wins and who loses, Alabama also 1-4 on their last 5 road games. And honestly, this is a pretty comparable opponent. You see where those road losses are coming from. They obviously lost to Oklahoma last year. That was a big one. They lost to Florida State to kick off this year. They did beat LSU in a big way last year, but they also lost to Tennessee. They lost to Vanderbilt. So in these big, more importantly, the SEC ones, right? These are 4 SEC games against ranked SEC opponents. I don't think Oklahoma was ranked or Vanderbilt were ranked at the time, but you get my point. These are the stronger teams in the SEC. On the road, Alabama in the Kalen DeBoer era have come up short. At Vanderbilt, loss. At Tennessee, loss. At Oklahoma, loss. They beat LSU. That's more of a Brian Kelly thing, if we're being honest. But then you have the FSU game, too, this year, where they lose in week 1 in embarrassing fashion. So, I mean, there's some questions about Alabama on the road. Now you're in Athens, Georgia, obviously SEC country. Big-time rivalry, first time in 10 years. I think this is going to be a tough spot for Bama. It's a coin flip game, but those few advantages for Georgia and the fact that I have a little more faith in Gunnar Stockton than I did a few weeks ago, I think Georgia will take this one. A bit of a revenge spot. Now, Alabama has obviously dominated this rivalry of late. I do think Georgia will go ahead and take this one at home. And for my second pick, guys, like I mentioned, I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I'm going with the over here, 53.5, which I'm grabbing from -107 over on Novig. Like I said, I think this is going to be a higher scoring affair. Last year when these two teams played, it was a big time game, 41-34 win for Bama in Tuscaloosa. Now, I don't necessarily think it's going to be that high of a scoring affair. I don't think you're going to see a 75-point total again, but I think you're going to get over 60. I think this you can even go alternate line, honestly, and go to like 58.5, get some extra value. But I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. There have been a lot of high-scoring games in the past 10 meetings between these two. But the defensive efficiencies on both sides and the strength of the offenses, again, Gunnar Stockton proved himself versus Tennessee. They got a ton of great weapons. I think that there's going to be a lot of points scored. This is going to be a higher scoring game. I think it's going to be a 3-point win for Georgia. I think they're going to win something in the tune of like 34-31 or 37-34 or 40-37, something along those lines, which I know I just contradicted myself and said it's not going to get to 75 points. But I think you're going to see a higher scoring game. I think it's going to be a 3-point win for Georgia, and I think they're going to win by 3, but it's going to be somewhere in that ballpark of like Georgia 34, Alabama 31. I think both teams will hit 30 points in this game. Now, the data for this season doesn't necessarily suggest that. You see so far this year, this line of 53.5 for Alabama, they've only cashed in 1 game. However, the actual over in all of these games have hit. So the line was 45.5. The over hit versus Wisconsin. So the overs are 3-0 in these games, But looking at the specific line of 53.5, it's only cashed in one of the three, excuse me. And going over to Georgia, kind of a similar story. This one, Austin P, that one definitely didn't hit, but the two overs in general did hit versus Tennessee and Marshall, and the over 53.5 hit in that Tennessee game. Really using the Tennessee game as a point of reference for this one. All right, guys, one more pick in today's video, but real quick, I want to give a shout out, to the sponsor of today's video, Outlier. Everything you've seen so far in this video, all the numbers, all the data, all the analytics, they're coming from Outlier, which I believe is the best sports betting tool on the market. We do offer a special link down below in the description that gives you guys a 7-day free trial to go ahead and check it out for yourself. There's so much stuff. I'm only giving you guys a little taste of what Outlier provides here. There's so many more insights, analysis, player prop information, so much stuff here to go ahead and take a look at. It's a fantastic tool. It makes you a smarter sports bettor, but more importantly, a better sports bettor. If you want to make money sports betting, guys, you got to have the right tool by your side. Analytics is the name of the game, and Outlier is the best tool that money can buy. And again, we're giving you guys 7 days free when you check out the link down below in the description. So make sure to go ahead and check that out. Thank you to Outlier for being a proud sponsor of Guy Boston Sports, whether it be this video or a number of our other videos here on the channel. In our third and final pick in today's video, guys, we're going with a little player prop action. We have Nate Frazier, anytime touchdown here against the Crimson Tide. We're grabbing that for -110 on FanDuel. Not the best odds for a touchdown player prop, but I do think it's a good spot. Now, I know Alabama, the numbers show they don't really give up a lot of touchdowns in general. They have a pretty good scoring defense, but this is a decent spot for Nate Frazier. Now, he's cashed this total, this touchdown prop, in 1 of 3 games this year. He had 2 touchdowns versus Austin P. He cashed this in 46% of his games last year. If you look at the last 10 games, this includes the 3 games this year and obviously the last 7 games of last year. He's cashed in 6 of his last 10 games with a couple of multi-touchdown games in there. We also have the insights provided by Outlier, which show us Nate Frazier has exceeded half a touchdown in 4 of his last 5 games at home. He's averaging 1.4 rushing touchdowns, or any touchdown in general, receiving or rushing, touchdown per game over the last 5 games, including 1 of 2 home games so far this year. Now, unfortunately, no head-to-head data against Bama, but honestly, this is a volume play as well. Like we mentioned earlier, Alabama's rushing defense has not been all that great. Right now, you'll get them right here, 71st in the nation in rushing yards. They just have not been a great run defense, and this is against weaker competition. Now you're playing Georgia. Now, Florida State obviously is a ranked school, so I can't say totally weaker competition, but obviously Georgia has a pretty solid rushing offense here. And Nate Frazier gets a lot of work in this offense. Look at the run share down below. Nate Frazier, he has 39 carries so far this year. It's a 28.3% run share, so he is obviously running the football the majority of the time, getting a lot of work in this Georgia offense. You also have the red zone rushing attempts. He is number 1 with a 28.6% red zone rushing share. He has 12 red zone carries this year. It's obviously pretty good. They look to him in the red zone. They look to him the majority of the time. In terms of targets, too, now he's not as heavily involved in the passing game. You see he's only got 2 targets so far this year, and the red zone targets he has, I'm assuming, none. Yeah, so not really involved in the passing game, but again, he has so much work on the ground game. The passing game really isn't necessary for this player prop to hit. I like the odds to be a little bit better. I like to be a little bit more value for a touchdown player prop, but I think this is a pretty good one. I think he's a pretty good bet to go ahead and score here against Georgia. That's our third and final pick in today's video. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. Thank you very much for all week long, your support. We've done a ton of college football content this week. 5 college football videos total, including this one. So I appreciate you guys supporting, watching, subscribing, commenting, all that great stuff. I'll be back next week with more college football content. Until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoying these big-time Clash of the Titans games. But more importantly, let's go ahead and make some money, baby. Let's go.